Hello everyone, I'm here to introduce Wasteland Forever, which is a Wasteland remake project, a remake of the classic RPG Wasteland from about 25 years ago in a modern day PC. This is a project that's been going on for quite a few years in my spare time, probably maybe even 5 or 6, so obviously I haven't had too much spare time in the last few years to work on it, but thanks to a fractured collarbone recently, I've had more time than I would probably otherwise like to spend on my crazy personal projects. And so I've been able to get Wasteland Forever up to the point where I can show you guys what I've been working on. So Wasteland Forever is built on the XNA framework, which means it works for PC, but I guess it would also translate pretty easily to Xbox 360 and Windows Phone 7. But these days, XNA works pretty well on a number of platforms, and in any case, the actual engine component of the game is not that big really, so it'd be pretty easily portable to any other platform. So theoretically, we could see it on iOS, or iPhone and iPad, and those sorts of things as well. Most of the game is actually in Lua script, so I made it that way, designed it that way, so that anyone, even if you're not a programmer, can jump in and use a Lua script to create new areas and remake parts of the game. Because I certainly don't have enough time to do the whole project myself. And Lua script is something that's really easy. You don't need to have much programming knowledge, if any at all, to understand what's going on and to write your own Lua script. So that's why it's been designed that way. So the engine itself could be used for a number of purposes other than the remake. You could jump in there and make your own adventure using the Wasteland tile sets and graphics and the combat system and everything. So kind of a spin-off game. I know that Inxile is working on Wasteland 2, which I'm super excited about. But I think there's going to probably, I imagine, it's probably going to be a more kind of 21st century game rather than an old school 80s RPG, which I'm a fan of. So, I'd love to see another game in the same tile-based spirit as the original Wasteland. You could even probably make a game like Bard's Tale with a little bit of modification to the core engine. Well, maybe that's a bit further in the future, but theoretically that could happen. So what I'm really the reason I'm showing you guys now is that this project is at the point where I really want to get, and I can get, other people involved now. The core engine is a long way along, and with the Lua script, people can jump in, just download the game, and jump in and start adding their own areas, adding parts of the remake areas. And as I said, you don't really need to be a programmer or have a huge amount of technical knowledge to do that. You just need to be enthusiastic about this crazy project. And I'm betting there'll be some people out there who share my passion for Wasteland. So if you are interested, I'll put the website up on the screen, and please come on down, have a chat and see what you can do to move the project along, because this project is really only going to go anywhere if we get the community involved. I mean, I can't do it alone, so if people want to get involved and move it along, it will definitely happen. And if not enough people care about this project, then it's just going to tank like so many other Wasteland remake projects in the past. So let's get started and see where we're at with the Wasteland remake, Wasteland Forever. So here we are in Highpool, good old Highpool, one of my favourite maps, I think. So we can see that the text is coming up as we would expect from the original. All the text is in there. It doesn't take too long with the map editing facilities. Jump into the store counter foyer, gaming hall. You can have a look at this note up on the wall. It talks about the cave and the adults raiding the outlaws and Bobby's dog and all that sort of good stuff. And then we can have a look at Mr. Jumbo's office, which is locked. Now, there's a simple way to get in here. We can pick the lock, the softly approach, but that's not how these rangers roll. We're gonna smash our way into this office. So we're gonna hit U to use. We use player 1. We use an item. We use a crowbar, And we're going to go down, and there we go. Smash through the door. Hey, what do you think you're doing to the door? Yell the angry juvies. That's probably fair enough to ask that question. But the juvies, this party, this NPC party of juvies, is actually a neutral disposition, so that means they won't automatically attack. We won't be automatically thrown into combat. We'll have to encounter them by hitting the E key, which is good because I can show you the distance, the range of NPC parties. So if you move out of range, they disappear. And I can also show you the line of sight check. So if you move behind a wall, the NPC party will also disappear. Now the line of sight check that I'm using, the algorithm, is a little bit different to at least the Commodore 64 one. Well, I assume the PC one as well. Because in the PC one, or in the Commodore 64 one, you can actually still see the NPC party from here, which is a bit odd, but I guess when you're using a 6502 assembler, it's you don't have many cycles to work with, so they probably took a few shortcuts. So we can go over here, and we can look at the handwritten notes on the desk, and look at the cash accounts with the rail nomads. And if we pass a perception check, a very simple one, which we have, you can look at the sneak attack plans, and the last note seems odd because it clearly assumes only 2 attackers against many. So Mr. Jumbo's come up with a ridiculous plan to take on a bunch of outlaws with just a couple of adults. So that explains why the adults are not in town. They've all gone off on Mr. Jumbo's ludicrous plan, and they've probably got themselves killed. Except for the shopkeeper and the doctor, they're still in town, so they've somehow weaseled their way out of that. All right, well, these juvies are going to have to go. So we've hit E to encounter them, and the youths are enraged by your unguest-like actions. And I'm enraged by them being enraged. So, because they're neutral disposition, if I evade, and then I'm going to be a bit arrogant, I'm going to change weapon for the last 2 guys in the party. I'm going to unequip my weapon in both cases, and they're just going to switch to fists. That's how confident we are of winning this battle. So if we don't actually attack the juvie party because they're neutral disposition, combat's going to end without it being adequately resolved, I guess. And there we go. So we have to encounter them again now, and this time we're going to attack. So they're probably still not going to be able to fire a shot in anger towards us because they're pretty simple to knock over. So we should take care of them without them firing shots. 10 experience, not great, but not too bad for a start without taking any damage. And we can grab their loot. Mangler, pretty good. 10 cash. Now we can go into the shop. So I like this guy. I like this shopkeeper. He doesn't care that we just killed a bunch of kids. He just wipe off the blood off the counter, and he's ready to serve us. He doesn't look terrified. He wants to enter. All right, Hellraiser. He's going to buy. We've got no money to buy, really, other than the $10 that we just got from those kids. So we can't buy too much. This is another thing I like about this shopkeeper. He's just seen us kill a bunch of kids. He's wiping the blood off the counter, and he's still willing to do business with us. But not only that, he's still charging his prices. So it's not like he's so terrified. He's just take what you want. He's charging his price. He's charging us ridiculous prices, frankly. $10 for a match? Come on. So we'll buy a bottle of snake squeezing, and then we've got no money, so we try and buy a book, and it says that costs too much money. So that's all working as we'd expect. Send in Thrasher to sell some stuff. Just sell all his junk. Most of it is junk. So then if we send Thrasher in again and say sell, we don't have anything that they want. So let's send Hellraiser in again. Buy. He's got no money, but we can press P to pull money. That's got the party's money now. And now we can buy some of these expensive matches, which I'm all about. Got a couple of those. That's pretty much a shop. Not too much more to see. It's pretty much behaving as the original does. So we can head on down to the infirmary just briefly, because there's not a lot to see in the infirmary, to be honest. We can send in Hellraiser. He can have an exam for $25, which just tells me what we already know. He has no diseases. He can also be healed if he'd taken any damage for $5 a point. $5 a point. I mean, these crazy prices. So I think we'll just leave the infirmary and just back away slowly. We can go into the workshop here, into the bed at the back. Now there's two perception checks here. One's a very simple one, and the other one's not too much harder. And it looks like we've passed the slightly more difficult one because we've found quite a cache. Whereas if we'd only passed the simple one, we'd just get some cash and jewelry. But this time we get a pistol. But what's more interesting is we get a couple of clips and a leather jacket. Also get 61 cash. We can get up to 100 cash in that. So that's 61. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. So if we bring up the party view, we can look at Hellraiser, who picked up that leather jacket. We can go down to the leather jacket. We can equip it. And then we can see that we've got now an armor class of 1. So that's very cool. We can now take a little bit more damage. Alright, we all know that there's a cave here, so we've got to use our perception skill to identify the cave and the rope, and then we've got to use a new rope, and we're into the cave. So the cave here is very dark. Now we can use a match. We can light a match here, one of those super expensive matches that we bought. And when we do that, then we can see the snap rope, the way the children got in and out. Now, what that has also done, it's replaced an encounter that we're about to have, a combat that we're about to have. Bobby's dog. It's no longer a rabid dog, it's a spiked mutt, which is a slightly easier encounter. So we've got some rocks and boulders here to make it difficult to pass. We've just got to use our climb skill to get over them. Oh, we've fallen and slipped back with skinned knees. This is actually the simpler climbing test in the cave, so we should be able to get over that without too much trouble. There's a couple later on in the cave which are more difficult, and we more expect to fall back a little bit, take some damage. So we move on to this square, and we see this terrifying vision of Bobby's dog, which is a spiked mutt instead of a rabid dog. Look at the map and we can see there's the dog on the map there. So we're gonna really have to take out this dog. You probably could walk around it, but again, it's not how these rangers roll. Luckily we've killed it without too many problems. Got 45 experience, which is not too bad. I'll take the jewelry that the dog was wearing. Alright, so we all know as well that Jackie is in the corner here, only a couple of squares away, so you'd think you'd be able to see her from now, but you can't because the boulders in the way that are impassable tiles are preventing us from seeing Jackie at this point. So the line of sight test again is failing. So we need to get right up close before Jackie's going to spawn. And of course, that's how it works in the original as well. So we're going to try and climb our way through. It's actually easier to climb up than it is to climb right, but I've tried to climb right and we've paid for it. There we go, we've passed that test. So Jackie appears then because we're right next to her now. So if we encounter Jackie, please help me get out of here. Well, we will. We will. We've killed enough kids probably for now. It's time to show that hiring works. Thank you for rescuing me. Alright, so if we bring up our party view, we can see Jackie's there, number 5. And all the stats and everything is just like the original. She doesn't have many items. And she's got a bunch of pretty useless skills, so pretty average NPC really, but better than nothing I suppose. So we'll climb our way out of the cave. We could check out the other areas of the cave, but there's really not that much to see, so there's not too much value in doing that really. So after we killed Bobby's dog, we can go down here and we can see that Bobby's constructed a little bit of a grave and a monument to Rex, gunned down by vigilante rangers. Well, I can't argue with that. So if we walk in the creek here, we can fall in if we fail a test, which we have. And some brats on the side of the river are laughing at us. We can also fall in here and we actually take some damage, as well as being laughed at, so it's adding insult to injury. Now there's a couple of people who have failed the test. 3 people have failed the test. Alright, so now we've actually got 3 NPC parties created now, but on 2 squares, so 1 square has 2 parties. But this is kind of interesting. If we move to this square, that closer party disappears, but it's not because they're out of range. It's actually because we can't swim and we can't move into this lake tile because the rocks are slick and mossy. So that's actually an impassable tile, and Wasteland doesn't distinguish between an impassable tile and a tile that you can't see through. So maybe that's something we can look to address in the remake, that you really should be able to see over the lake and see this NPC party. Anyway, if I encounter them on this square, we'll introduce the parties and we can see the difference in the distance. So one brat appears at 14 feet, and then these brats appear at 36 feet. So it's actually 2 brat parties, 1 brat and 1 brat at 36 feet. Because we've got 2 guys using pistols, they can choose who they want to attack. So they'll attack the 2nd and 3rd brat, and Thrasher and Snake Vargas and Jackie will have no choice, and they'll have to attack the closer brats. So we should be able to take them out. Well, the Hellraiser's done pretty poorly there, but we should have been able to take them out without them coming back at us. But we've still got 1 brat left now. But this does show that Thrasher, Snake Vargas, and Jackie aren't going to be able to attack because they're using fists, and these other brats are at 36 feet. So we'll just get them to evade, because Hellraiser and Angela Death should be able to take care of this last brat. Because the brats were neutral disposition, they only turned hostile in the 2nd round, so they didn't even get to attack us in the 1st round. And unfortunately they died before they got to attack in the 2nd round too. So we get some experience for that. And once we take this loot, I'm going to see that some more brats are appearing. Ha ha, you missed me, the kid chortles. Yeah. I'll take this loot. Nya nya, you missed me, nya. Well, they're just asking for it, really. So now we've got 2 brats at 10 feet and 3 brats at 14 feet. So I'm going to take them on together because we're supremely confident of victory. The guys using fists can attack 14 feet. That's the maximum range of fists, so no one's out of range now. So hopefully we'll come pretty close to killing them all off before they get to have a crack at us. Done pretty well there. We have, so 4 experience for everyone. Everyone shares in this experience. So once we take the loot of these brats, we're going to reveal a chubby kid who's going to appear. He's going to tell us that his grandma shoots better than us. So, you know, he's kind of asking for it as well, really. He's saying we ought to pick on someone our own size. Well, he's still a kid. Not really the same size, but whatever. Whatever. We've killed enough kids. We're just going to keep on doing it. And there we go. We're sending him to meet his maker, so we really killed him. Kind of have to question at this point whether this ranger party is a force for good in the Wasteland, having just killed a bunch of kids, killed the kid's dog. I don't know. We did rescue Jackie though. So now that we've taken the chubby kid's loot, the puppy crawls up, whining, and lays its head on the boy's chest. It's laying it on thick. We've done something pretty bad here. So the transformed valley, the Red Riders appeared, and because we killed Bobby's dog, Bobby's also going to appear when we get a little bit closer. So there's a Red Rider, and he's at 40 feet, and he can actually attack from that range, whereas we can't, so we need to get a bit closer. And he does some serious damage even from that range. He's taking us for 19 points, and there's Bobby. He's not happy about us killing his dog. That's fair enough. But Bobby's really not the problem here. It's It's a Red Rider. We're going to get a little bit closer. Oh, he's seriously wounded Hellraiser, so that's not great. He's out of the fight. And I think we better try and get rid of this Red Rider. Unfortunately, Thrasher can't attack because we've unequipped the weapon, so we better equip those weapons again. Jack is not going to be able to do anything. Oh, we got a bit lucky there. Angela Death has hit Red Rider hugely for 30 points of damage. So hopefully now we can polish off the last innocent kid and do a clean sweep of High Pool, killing virtually every child in sight. And that is pretty much High Pool, and that's pretty much the state of Wasteland Forever at the moment. So as I said, come on down to the forum and get involved. You don't have to be a programmer. You just need to be excited about Wasteland or excited about making your own game with the Wasteland engine, and come on down. I hope to see you guys there.